All right, everybody. Thanks for the very, very short-term change of plans to live stream tonight. It is Sunday, May 21st, 2023 at 8:32 p.m. Central
Still
Daylight
got
Time.
we still
Huh?
got one we still got one softball game going on for the regional finals, but that's about it. So
It's not OU.
no, it is definitely yeah, it definitely not OU. Seattle got crazy. Washington just had a major seventh inning comeback. They scored 7 runs to take the lead. They were down
Woo!
6-0, and they scored 7 at the top. So now McNeese has got one on first, full count, no outs. Because they had an amazing game earlier today. So today's been fun. If you like this tournament,
Yesterday and today.
but mostly today because it's the regional finals, and you have all the potential. If there was like 5 or 6 if necessary games today, so it was
Yeah. I mean,
you know
it's been crazy this regional. I mean, UCLA got bounced out now at this point. OU, I laughed at your joke about it of they're going to start throwing people in at this point to hit home runs based on that inning today.
Are there
from
any long time season ticket holders who want to try to hit a home run against
Yeah.
Cal?
Like they're just so ridiculous, and when you look at it, it's crazy that they're not going to leave Oklahoma again for the rest of the year for it, and they're just going to keep on keeping on at that point. Like the softball's been good.
Well, they got Clemson coming in next weekend, so they had an interesting day against Auburn. They were able to hold on, and it's two. They win 2 games. They win 2 in a row next weekend. They break the softball Division I winning streak record, which ironically
I thought it was 2.
Well, they need 2 more. Well, no, they need 1 to tie, 2 to break it.
Oh, so they're at 46. I thought they were at 45.
Yeah, so ironically, it's 47 games. How appropriate at the University of Oklahoma. So
exactly. I mean, you might as well start 47 being like the magic number at this point. I should change the channel just instead of hashtag to 47 at this point.
Patty Gasso breaks Bud Wilkinson's record.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's been bringing up across all sports that no matter someone's gonna
bitch. It's different sports. Like, no shit, Sherlock. I know there's gonna be one. There's gonna be one who gets really mad about it. Just like just like idiots on our message boards, just embarrassing themselves today. Which is like, it's just our turn. Every fan base has idiots who embarrass themselves. It's just our turn today, unfortunately.
It just is what it is.
It's the usual suspects that I see on a certain board. So,
that's depressing. Regardless of it, I mean, for people who know sports that actually have any knowledge of it and not being homers, getting to 47 is a huge deal regardless of that. It's not even OU for it. Yeah, it's incredible on its own merits. And people don't understand that.
I was like, man, they could have won that Baylor game. They had the most epic season ever.
Yeah. Well, who's going to beat this team, knock on wood? But seriously, like,
I mean, it's not impossible for them. I mean, it's going to get a lot harder at OKC. But like, I think they'll beat Clemson. I'm just going to throw that out there. But
Sean, if they has one of the 3 finalists for Player of the Year.
Yeah, Jada Coleman made the catch of the year, but whatever. So if it's not out of the realm of possibility, they could run the table the rest of the way.
Yeah,
and 1 loss, that's best team ever, at least record wise. The cherry on the top for a dynasty.
I mean, 3 in a row is what you go for.
I mean, that's only UCLA has ever done that. And that was in the infancy of the sport, in a sense. So,
yeah. I mean, you and I have talked about it before in football and college football. It's hard to get 3 in a row and the last people to do it.
Well, it's hard to get 2. Look at Georgia. Yeah. I mean, they make it look easy, and I see some crap today from. I like Josh Pay. I think he's a good dude, but like I swear it's the offseason. People manufacture such BS in the offseason. People are doubting Georgia. Who the fuck is doubting Georgia? Who the fuck is doubting Georgia? I ain't doubting Georgia.
Nobody is.
Nobody's doubting Georgia.
Yeah, it's May 21st. They're trying to get something to get
people doubting Georgia. Who the fuck is that? because someone asked you that's what Pate does. Someone asked him in a tweet a question.
Yeah.
Like, I hope they don't move the OU Texas game from the fairgrounds at Dallas. And I'm like,
they're not.
And I'm like David Letterman when he talks about Jay Leno don't blame Conan. It's like, no one is blaming Conan O'Brien. And I'm like, no one's saying they're going to move the OU Texas game from the Cotton Bowl.
And
no one is saying this.
And fun fact for people who don't know, that's not even up to the conference. That's been decided between the schools.
Well, yeah, but no one is saying that. And Washington wins.
Well, a lot of people I kind of saw that, but it's because Jackson or Florida and Georgia have to do that home and home for it while they're doing renovations.
Yeah, well, they've done that before. Back, I want to say, like the late '80s, early '90s. That was a big deal. So,
yeah, I mean, let's not pretend like that hasn't been talked about with.
I do think that day may come where they'll have to renovate the Cotton Bowl again.
They will
for whatever reason. That's like we need to do extensive. Because one day all the pipes are going to burst at the same time, and no one can, like instead of just one part of the stadium can't use the bathroom, the entire stadium can't use the bathroom, or there won't be running. It'll be something really stupid.
We've got an Omega number 2. Oh God.
Well, more like a DEFCON 5. I do think that day is coming where we'll do a home in Norman and Austin, and we'll have a coin flip of who goes first or whatever. So,
and it's going to be batshit insane, but it's going to happen. Well, even then, the big question is, would they do that before, or would they move to Jerry World for a home and home?
No, they would do a home and home.
That's my guess too, because they don't want to lose the atmosphere. But I'm like, if you're wanting the tradition of it, that is always an option and everything.
But there's no tradition in Jerry World. Jerry World is it's going to be more.
We have the tradition. We beat Texas there.
I mean, we had the experiments, the unofficial experiments in the 2018 Big 12 title game. I mean, I thought it was great because OU won. That's all I gave a shit about.
Well, I'm talking about like the atmosphere for it. It was OU Texas, but it was not OU Texas type of deal.
Well, I mean, people were sitting wherever. There's not a dividing line. All those things. Yeah. Boy, speaking of Texas,
what's going on at Texas?
I
have my notes, and you've even lost me on that one.
Well, no, this is the usual stuff. It's nothing new. It's like
Arch.
I've officially. Well, no, it's not even Arch. Like I wish Arch was being talked about. That'd be hilarious. But people are smart enough not to do that. I'm officially just clipping everything I find.
Oh, receipts.
Oh, officially. People are falling for Texas again this year. It's happening again.
How is that different from every other year, Sean?
Well, no, this year, because I've heard these words from Ari Wasserman's mouth. It's like, it would be the biggest, I'm paraphrasing here, but it would be the biggest disappointment or the biggest choke if Texas doesn't win the Big 12 this year. Oh, goody. I get to throw that in some people's faces in the month of December, potentially. I mean, forget about not winning the conference. They never make it to the game, hardly, if ever. Yeah. Oh, like one time. So, I don't know. I keep hearing how great the O-line is this year. They have talented guys that they recruited. I mean, we'll see what happens year 2. I mean, I think Banks is going to be really good. I'm not saying they can't produce talent. Xavier Worthy's great. Xavier Worthy's hand is healed now, so he won't drop any more passes. That's what I've been told. Quinn Ewers is going to be great because of how he played in the last few games of the year. So that's how he's going to play all year now. And I mean, that one quarter he had against Alabama before he got hurt, he's going to play like that for 4 quarters in Tuscaloosa. I mean, Bijan's gone and also Roshan, but it doesnn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The defense is so much better. Like, I'm trying to figure out why the defense is so much better. You're going to have to inform me on that one. But what it is.
Well, they're also still bragging that they beat us 49-0. I'm like, cool, guys. It should have been a lot worse.
No, that's my line. No, that's my line. Like, that's my line. I watched that game. I'm like, it should be 77-0, and it's not. I'm not that impressed. It's like you literally beat a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. That's what you did. And so it's like we all knew walking that game. It's like, is Dylan going to play? It looks like he's going to play. It looks like he's going to play. Oh, shit, he's not going to play. We screwed.
Yeah.
And so I was just happy we got a 3-and-out to start the game. I was impressed with that. So, I mean, Danny Stutzman made a stop, and then, I mean, that was kind of like the highlight of the whole game, pretty much. But other than that, no, I'm just Ari Wasserman's talking himself into Texas again this year, and it's hilarious. And Andy Staples just like laughs at him and says, "You just want Texas to be good so badly, don't you?" Because Andy understands. Andy's like, and when we get to December and Oklahoma exits the conference as Big 12 champions, we'll come back to this. And so it's like Andy knows what's up.
Well, it's because it's the same thing every year. Texas, whether they want to admit it or not, them and A&M have the same roller coaster. It's just a little different of timing. A&M's disaster is usually mid-October.
Well, no, A&M isn't hyped up. Everyone's hyping up LSU to win the West this year. So that's
is the game somewhere in New Orleans? Because otherwise, nope, they ain't gonna win it.
What, the SC West? I don't see why they couldn't.
Oh, I'm talking national championship.
No, I'm not talking about the Natty. I mean, if you win the SEC, it was a shot. But if LSU could win the West this year, I mean, Bama has question marks. I mean, Bama doesn't have they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Bama has leftover Notre Dame QB
who's not that good.
I mean, look, they did the same thing with Florida State's QB back in like 2015, and they won a natty because the rest of the team was so good. That was the thing about Bama last year, is that their skill guys were not nearly as dynamic as seasons past, which is like a huge, that's a huge bar.
Because they went to Georgia.
Well, no, it wasn't because they went to Georgia. It's like, all they had was like who was their running back? He was like the transfer from Georgia Tech, and I forgot. God damn, I totally blanked his name, but you know what I'm talking about. He was like the best player on the team. But we'll see what happens. I'm not writing off Bama. I mean, there's more people like questioning Bama than there are Georgia. But
Georgia, proving it. You've won it back to back with it. But and then again, I feel like I agree. I agree with you in they're hyping everybody up, just like they're saying TCU is going to do great. Guys, a lot of those people players on the TCU.
People are hyping TCU. They're hyping Tech. Tech is like
Tech's a dark horse, and I can see why, because the coaching's great. But some people are still thinking TCU is going to end third in the conference. I'm like, guys, I think they're going to end sixth. They don't look nearly as impossible as they did.
If OU is just simply competent this year, they'll be in the Big 12 championship. Yeah, because their schedule is garbage. Our schedule is total crap. I'm not talking about making the playoff. I guess who cares this year about making the playoff this year is like the furthest thing from my mind. Like just our schedule.
Making it to Dallas.
Our schedule is so weak.
Yeah,
on the Big 12 side.
About that because we talked about that when they first revealed the home schedule. That the home schedule is not that good.
I mean, people
outside of probably UCF.
People point to BYU, and it's like,
people want to go to BYU because it's the away game.
I'll get scared of BYU when the game happens. I guess I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be scared of the Mormons. So
I'm not scared of BYU. Just like last year when everyone was hyping them up at the beginning, like guys, like they're not that good, and they weren't.
As long as PJ Adebawore is healthy and he can pass rush, I'm good. So But we had a minor recruiting drama this week, and
with Sim, our in-state kid that everybody decided
our in-state kid. Boy, if I had to hear that shit one more time,
that's why I intentionally said it.
Dude's lived in Oklahoma for like a minute and a half, and he's an in-state kid.
That's why I said it. Because everyone was melting down. It's like I didn't even hear.
We lost an in-state kid, dude. He was born and grew up in Texas. He's only lived here for like a year and a half, bro. He ain't that attached.
Yeah.
And it's like, we need the D lineman. It's like, you didn't hear, like, and I'm sorry, I hate to be this asshole, but you didn't hear about this motherfucker till like 2 weeks ago. Most of you people didn't hear about this guy till 2 weeks ago. And like all the guys everyone else is hyping up are still on the list. We're not going to get those guys either. It's like, all right, fine, be a bitch. It's like, I keep having to like, we don't live in a world, I guess, where we got 3 5-stars last year and 2 of them were on defense, but what do I know? It's like I'm just a guy on YouTube, but I'm sick of the pussiness of this fan base sometimes.
Yeah.
On people on Twitter, they just whine and bitch. It's like, oh, just you get beat out. It's like, God, like, stop watching the sport. Stop following recruiting. You obviously can't handle it. And this is the thing with high-level defensive linemen. Guess what, motherfuckers? If you want OU to be elite, if you want them to be as good as they've possibly been in years past, you're going to have to fight these battles, and you're going to lose some. You're going to go to war, and you're going to lose. It's going to happen on the regular basis. When you win some, it's going to feel really good. When you lose some, it's going to feel really bad. But there's not enough room at the table for everyone to get high elite defensive linemen. And we have the people, and like everyone wants to fire Todd Bates, but
no,
there's like 6 high level guys we could potentially get. I'm gonna say 5 because the McKinley kid, he's going to LSU. Let's just be honest. But the rest of them, like Stone, Williams and Winari, Nigel Smith, Ajonye, Koe, like all these guys. If we get like 2 of those guys, maybe 3, that's a great class. I don't care who your 4th or however many more you tack on. You get 2 of those guys, like you get Stone and Winari, or Stone and Nigel Smith, or just whatever combination you want to come up with. It's a damn good class.
Right.
And
to add to that, though, it's the 3 things I've learned as a college football fan from it. One from you is don't be afraid to fight the big dog. Number 2, if you don't like losing, don't be in sports.
Yeah.
And then number 3, guess what, guys? If we're taking all of FBS with it, you're not going to get every player. It's just not possible. You have to accept they're going to go somewhere else, and that's okay.
We had to have the
crazy fruits.
Oh, jeez, it's like don't post on message boards, because we used to live in a world where posting on message boards was like private because they're paywalled. It don't matter, dude. There's always spies who buy subscriptions and will screenshot every stupid thing you say. Like it is literally a thing on Twitter now. Message board geniuses. That thing you say on a message board is safe.
No, there's not, because
it is not
they'll
safe.
Send it into Traber.
Nothing I say is safe. Like you're gonna love that. Like I got like OSU fans like digging up 4-year-old tweets of me calling out Gundy for pulling an offer from a kid who took a visit. Oh, aren't you hypocritical? I was like, hypocritical, bitch. I got news for you. Number 1, when our head coach walked in day 1, he said this is the policy. I don't recall Gundy saying in 2005, was it? That was day 1 his policy. If you could find me some footage where he says day 1 that's his policy, I'll eat crow, I guess, or whatever. But Brent Venables walked in day 1, had a press conference, had a conversation with Bob Prisbillo, whoever the fuck it was, and he explained his philosophy. And then there's a Texas fan. What about our guy? It's like, who cares? It's like, what about our guy? It's like, he didn't pull his offer. It's like, you don't even know what his policy is. His policy is for official visits.
Correct.
And the guy who's
was always
and the guy who's talking about, who ended up at Texas, lives in goddamn Austin, Texas, and his parents are Texas grads, and he went to the Texas-Alabama game. He's gonna be around the campus more often than not. So there are weird exceptions to the rule. If you happen to live right by the campus that you're supposedly may or may not be going to, it's kind of hard to hold that against them. So there are exceptions to the rule. They're rare, but they happen. So anyway, bottom line is, like, both of our.
Well, I want to add to that too, though, real fast before you say that. It's basic reading comprehension. That's what gets me, because it's like Venables did the same thing as Gundy. No, Venables always said the moment you commit, you close your recruitment. Obviously, it kind of makes sense if someone's they close it, then open it back up.
This motherfucking JUCO committed like last Tuesday or Wednesday, and without telling Brent, just privately tried to take a visit to his home state of Illinois at the University to see the Illini. It's like, dude, what the fuck? You say you committed, you're not committed to me, you gone.
Yeah. Brent ain't going to tolerate that.
Well, what about Colton Vasek? It's like, this kid ain't Colton Vasek.
Right.
Is Brent going to make an exception once in a while for someone really special? Potentially. Yeah, there will be exceptions to the rule. But some JUCO who, again, no one ever heard of before until now. It's like
it's the how much leash is he going to give it? If he's a 5-star and he's a top 5 in his class, yes, Venables.
Yeah, guess what? People, high-level 5-stars get treated differently.
They do.
Yeah,
because they're 5 stars. This kid,
a hypocrite. Like, eat a dick.
Yeah, it's reading comprehension. It's not even that hard. Like,
you criticize Mike Gundy.
The problem is Gundy has a track record of being a complete asshole. We've seen that with Spencer.
Well, Gundy has a track record of not bringing in top 5 classes. It doesn't have the luxury that Brent has. So if you want to call it, say, it's like he has the luxury to do that, you're goddamn right he does. He had a blue blood program and has the luxury to say you can't pull that shit here.
If I'm surprised. To be fair, I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised that you just didn't call back on and be like, I think Gundy should be more worried about pulling his paycheck and recruiting versus, worrying what OU's doing at that point.
Oh, I care. I'm not worried about OSU. I ain't worried about OSU because the last time we get to play this bit, we play them one more time this year. I hope we walk in there and just like drop 30 or 40 on them and call it a day.
I hope I get to go to that game. I want to go to it. I don't know if I'll be able to afford it being so close to Texas and BYU. I would go with my brother-in-law.
Don't go. Don't bother.
I want to go one time with it because my brother-in-law came with me to the OU game, OSU last year. I want to do the same thing back.
OSU is going to be really sad. OSU is going to be really sad when we change the Disney Plus and Netflix passwords. They're going to be really suffering when we're in the SEC.
We're going to change it right at...
I can't see the new Mandalorian. You have to pay for it yourself with your TV contract, but it's not as good as yours. Oh, dude, speaking of that shit, you see today, you see the story about the Big Ten?
No. Keep in mind, I've had to work all weekend.
Okay, all right. So
I don't know what's been going on.
Okay, this is dropped like today, so this is like craziness. So Warren, the previous commissioner, he screwed around with like some promises or with like because when the COVID year happened, the Big Ten was supposed to have because they still haven't quite finalized their new deal because it's supposed to be huge. It's supposed to be on par with like the SEC and everything, right? So. They were trying to get the Big Ten championship game on NBC one year. And Fox was like, no, you are not having it on NBC because it's promised to us in 2026. And I don't know why NBC is going to get it in 2026. Yes, it's in writing. So
it's in writing.
See, the problem is Fox owns the Big Ten network.
Right. And
like Fox is going to have the Big Ten championship as many years as possible. So this contract, the NBC apparently is no longer like the combo with NBC and Fox is not going to be as lucrative on the NBC side because NBC apparently is not going to ever get a top tier Big Ten game. So NBC.
let's back up.
Okay, so Fox is always like going to get like big.
I'm a little confused now. So back up. Let's back up to the beginning. So Big Ten made promises they couldn't keep because of their TV deal, or made promises, signed stuff.
Because the previous commissioner did stuff and everything and signed stuff and on behalf of the Big Ten. So they're supposed to get this big monster TV contract like the SEC is going to eventually get, when they renegotiate with the addition of OU Texas. So it's like they're trying to do a combo of NBC and Fox, and it's a way to try to lure Notre Dame in. So I haven't really gone a deep dive into it because I just like kind of briefly looked at it, but it sounds like they're going to have to pay Fox like $40 million out of their pocket if they want to do some certain games and on NBC or whatever.
Wow. So what you're telling me is people are having buyer's remorse doing Fox stuff just like OU did?
Well, no, it's not about Fox. It's about like what the previous commissioner did. It's like,
it's both.
Someone didn't read some fine print somewhere, which once again, I'm like, So glad we're in the SEC now. Because and with the SEC, we're all under one singular umbrella now. We're with Disney. We're with ESPN. So there is no, we're not like partially on CBS still or whatever. So there's more than enough ESPN channels and streaming options to deal with there.
I feel like my statute of limitations is gone at this point, so I can feel like I can talk more internal OU stuff because that was over 10 years ago. Let's just say OU was never happy with the Fox deal. They hated it.
Of course they were never happy with the Fox deal.
They could never do anything with it. They wanted the ESPN deal.
Well, yeah, but they were stuck in the Big 12. They were carrying it.
Correct.
Like, Texas carried it with their brand. You carried it with their play on the field. So,
yeah.
Texas had the brand money. We had the actual winning shit money. So, anyway, which speaking of ESPN, last week it was.
Yeah, you brought up what I was going to segue to. Go ahead though.
Was like ESPN has like word is leaking out that ESPN down the road in the next 5 to 10 years is very likely to subscribe everything directly to the consumer instead of through cable. Which is like, hallelujah.
And that will be the death of cable at that point.
I mean, yes and no. I think what it means, like, if they do it, everyone else is going to do it. And I think what's going to happen is that I wouldn't mind having a curated like cable where you just like, because what ESPN made its money on for decades was they gotta, you're always paying X amount of dollars when you get cable, whether you like sports or not. You're always paying extra for ESPN.
Correct.
Like HBO's, those are all premium channels. Those are choices, right? Not ESPN. You were forced to get ESPN whether you wanted to or not.
Correct. It's like the Hallmark channel. You're forced to get it.
Yeah, but ESPN was the big money maker. And the problem was, like, over the past, like, 5 to 10 years, like, my generation below have been cutting the cord. And it's cost that's why they've had so many layoffs and everything. But, like, no, but I think this is where this is going. Like, your Disney Plus bundle, that's just going to be part of your Disney Plus, ESPN Plus bundle. Instead of being $12.99, it's going to be $29.99, and you get all the ESPN channels plus the ESPN Plus content. You'll get the Disney Plus content, and I think at some point you're going to get ABC. You're going to get all you'll get your local affiliate, and you'll get all the ABC content as well. So if you want to watch Jimmy Kimmel, you get to watch Jimmy Kimmel or whatever. I'm just throwing an example out there. If you want to watch Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, you get to watch Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune.
Right. So, I mean, on both sides of it, I do want to say, man, credit with how much chaos you've seen from the Pac and from Bowlesby previously, and now with Big Ten, you gotta give Papa Stanky like.
We haven't even talked about the ACC yet.
I'll get to that, but it's like Sankey is very forward thinking, and even taking our move going to the SEC in a year. Dude knows his shit, and you gotta even give your
OU Texas showed up at his front door and said we want in. It's like, all right,
cool.
All right, come on in.
Neat.
I ain't saying no to you two.
And those are the dumbasses I keep seeing where they said nobody wanted OU Texas. I'm like, guys, this is the same damn situation years ago when Pete Carroll wanted people to go to USC. He can literally stick his head out the door and go, hey, I need a wide receiver. Who wants to come play? And people would have lined up. I said, guess what? OU is the same way.
He tried to get DeMarco Murray to play defensive back. So unfortunately,
well,
I want you as a DB. It's like, I'm going to Oklahoma. Thanks, Pete.
You get what I'm saying, though. With it's the same thing with OU and Texas. Guys, we want to switch conferences. Who wants us? Probably outside the Big Ten where they go, and we're not going to do academic.
Like the package, the other package deal that can do that is like Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio State, Michigan does that. They could do the same thing. It's like OU, Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, UCLA. They
Notre
did that
Dame on their own. Yeah.
People will like it'll be like The Bachelor, who gets the last rose or whatever the whatever they do on that show.
I was telling Dad, I'm like, with all this chaos going, I'm really happy that my team knows where they're at and where they're going.
Yeah, every time there's so many people on like Red Dirt's Discord, and it's like every day there's stuff about conference realignment. And I'm not saying I don't care, but I don't care enough to read it every day. It's like,
same.
I'm in the SEC. I don't have to worry about this shit. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not affiliated with the conference.
We saw like the little teaser promo of the 2024.
Oh, it was so good.
And then Jesse added the old school BCS theme to it, which was great. And then he took it off because he's a coward. Put it back up, bitch. Or I'll make it proper, or whatever. I don't know.
But I mean, it's the same thing though. Is it's coming, and I'm laughing at the Big 12 people that are like, "Why do we keep recruiting basketball? You hired a basketball commissioner. Congratulations. That's what you're going to be pushing."
All I'm saying is like, your mark is like understanding is like we're not going to be a football conference, but we're going to be a really good basketball, which they are. They're going to be really good basketball conference.
Which is funny because that's not what the conference wants. They want to be.
We want to be football, honey.
You don't have it, guys.
Honey, football left for cigarettes and then come back. I hate to break the bad news.
Yeah.
Your football mainstays went for cigarettes and didn't come home. So you don't get to be a football conference anymore. But you'll be a great basketball conference out of Houston and Cincinnati. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
You're making me think of the Spider-Man Sauron meme. We're gonna become a great basketball conference, but we want to. You're telling us we can do all this, but we want to be a football conference. I could do that, but we're going to be a basketball conference. But yeah, they don't get it. So
no, you are not going to be any of those things. I mean, look, the playoff is expanding, so you'll probably get a spot. And boy, is there buyer's remorse on that top 6 conference champs crap with the way things are going now. There might. Well, the format is the top 6 conference champions get the top 6 seeds.
Right.
That's good. Right. That is the first thing that's going to change.
Absolutely.
The first
the
chance
SEC wants 4 teams in.
Well, no, it's not that they won't get those 4 teams in. It's just that it's the seeding because they want the conference championships to mean something, which if everyone stayed put where they were, I agree. That's what they should do. But with all this chaos happening, we're going to be lucky to have 3 top-tier conferences, let alone 6. It's going to be 2 eventually. So yeah. I just like
came up with the magic number. It's 64.
I'm just imagining the Sun Belt Conference champions.
Don't be hating on UTSA.
And now let me rephrase that. Now the top 6 champions get bids. I don't know if they're ranked the same, so I could be wrong.
I think it's their automatic qualifier.
They make it in, but they're not necessarily like 1 through 6.
Correct.
So
I can't wait to see Arkansas State in there.
Listen, we're gonna have a whole year to figure this out, and you know what ESPN's gonna do because they can't wait to talk about this. Whenever they do the playoff rankings this year, I guarantee you they're going to have a mock 12 teams set up every week. This is what the 12 team's going to look like. They can't wait to talk about that. And so it's going to drive everyone insane. And
to add in too, though, it's the same thing of
everyone's going to be so confused.
Well, they're going to change it too, because as they said, nobody wants the first 2 rounds. Everybody wants the first 2 rounds for home games. They don't want it to be home game and then 3 rounds of bowls. People can't afford that. The schools are even complaining about that.
But Josh, the bowls are tradition. We have the sanctity of those bowl games.
F those pyramid schemes. Like, they're the ones that are bitching about it. Then go do FCS with the bowl systems.
The purity of the Rose Bowl, which is a great football game one year, and the rest of the year it's monster truck rallies, flea markets, and furry meetups. The sanctity of the Rose Bowl.
Hey! The sanctity of the Idaho Potato Bowl too. Got to include them both.
No, they're not. They're not part of the contract.
They're not. But it's like people want the bowls, guys. The bowls don't matter. They don't.
No,
they haven't.
They absolutely do matter because they made sure that they are the I've never seen a parasite live as long as I've had the bowl system. College football continues to outsource this postseason, but it is what it is.
Yeah. It's well, the funny part is I remember some of the stuff that was said that, well, why does ESPN or Fox or whoever always only focus on the postseason when we can celebrate good teams? It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't. They don't care if you're not playoff or even in this talk. They don't care. You're not a rating.
You win a bowl game. It's like you treat them like they're Pop Warner kids in the 6th grade.
Yeah. They don't matter. They don't, and they're participation trophies.
Speaking of which, Danny Okoye sounds like that dude sounds like a grown man. I heard his interview on was like the ref or whatever.
Yeah,
he talked about his visit to OU, and it's like, thankfully OU made a really good impression on him. It was like, I'd rather have him than freaking Sims, because Sims sounds like a child, and all he cares about is NIL shit. And
which is, let's be honest. And now I don't think it's anytime soon, but I have a gut feeling that Congress is going to get involved soon with NIL. I don't know when.
Okay.
I just feel it. I feel it's coming.
All right. Like
they want their tax.
Congress can't get the debt ceiling figured out. And you're worried.
No, like I said,
the NIL.
Like I said, I don't think it's coming anytime soon.
Republicans are sabotaging everything else that's important, like that needs to be handled now for like the national debt, and you think they're going to be worried about NIL shit right now? Like, that, I ain't worried about Congress and the NIL right now. That is not happening.
I feel like it's going to happen eventually, but not anytime soon. Don't get me wrong, but maybe in the next 10 years, or something's going to force their hand or something if it's taxes for it. But you did say
I ain't worried about Lindsey Graham and him getting involved in NIL.
I'm not either.
It is.
In that respect, no, I'm not either. Side note, you mentioned it as well with it. Are you, after it's been 2 weeks for it now? I don't know if I'm convinced on it yet. I've kind of taken a step back from it. Where do you think the ACC is right now?
They exist. People are trying to escape from it. And if they can get a couple more schools involved, they'll probably escape from it a lot sooner than 2036.
I feel like they're trying to get this just for a bigger bid, or do you think they truly want?
Well, no, like they're trying to figure out every single way they can to get more money, and like the brilliant move by some of the bigger schools in there who actually deserve money based on who they are. It's like, what if we do an unequal revenue stream? It's like, wait, I remember this game. This is what OU, Texas, and A&M did all those years, and then they decided we're going to do equal revenue sharing. That will make sure no one leaves. Wrong.
Yeah. Well, and it's like
back in the old days. Back in the old days, Nebraska was not part of that. Was not part of that team, which is really funny when you think about it.
Which is, to an extent, that is our fault. I mean, that is OU Texas's fault for that they kept them out of that. I mean, it's funny, but
no, I don't really care because OU is the benefit to that. Good for them. Go get your money. But at the same time, it was like, OU got it, Texas got it, A&M got it for some reason.
That's because A&M has the old money. Like, that they're the ones that
but like, what have they done? Like, their brand wasn't shit back then. It's like, I guess they were good in the 90s to an extent with like R.C. Slocum, and I think they were in a Sugar Bowl 1 year or something, but like, okay. And I mean, Texas and OU were crap in the 90s too, but the point remains, like, one school had one of these schools is not like the other. I mean, Texas had some sort of history in the 60s at least. But
don't tell them that still doesn't only makes them mediocre.
I digress. And anyway, uneven revenue sharing, that's going to work out great because certainly other teams won't leave.
So here's my first off, I do want to say I am in stitches still on. We're going to call ourselves the Magnificent Seven. I'm like,
no, they didn't call themselves that. Like, no, Brett McMurphy called them that.
It's stupid.
Yeah, but Brett McMurphy called it that. They didn't just wake up one morning and call themselves that. That's what Brett McMurphy gave them that name.
My first thought on that was Harold Zoid. Be like, we're going to have the Magnificent Seven with Calculon. Mm-hmm. That was my first thought. immediately. That's how stupid it is.
Or if you would get nerdy with Star Trek, the Magnificent Ferengi.
Going down the, I even vaguely remember that.
Speaking of the 90s,
did from this the thing that did make me laugh of the 7 schools that are unhappy, I like how it's like there's Florida State, there's Miami, which they're causing their own drama because
it's all the schools that actually it's all the schools that are in that club are the ones that matter for the most part.
Well, there's one.
FSU, it's FSU, Miami, Clemson. It's like
everybody, but there's one in there that always makes me laugh. It's Virginia. It's like everybody, and then there's Virginia.
Well, yeah, but they're I mean, they're part of the club too. I mean, with Vodtech.
It just makes me laugh where it's just like everybody who matters in football and Virginia.
I mean,
and Steven, like, but to be fair, like Florida State and Miami are upset because they want more money because UCF is making more than they are, and they're pissed.
Well, here's the problem that everyone's running into right now. People want out of the ACC or they want a better TV contract, whatever. You got the Pac-12 schools and like Oregon and Washington went out. Here's the problem for everybody. No one is going anywhere until, frankly, the Big Ten wants to expand. Because I don't think, because the SEC right now is not in a hurry. They don't have to do shit. The Big Ten, the only school they would take without question tomorrow is Notre Dame. Like, Oregon and Washington, like, everyone's waiting for someone else to make a move.
Right.
So, you get this, like, breaking news of the Big Ten and their whole TV contract being in a kerfluffle. Problem is, at the end of the day, you don't know how that's going to affect things because I kept waiting for this Big Ten deal to happen. And there's a monkey wrench in there. I was like, what's going to happen here? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it'll force them to expand. Maybe it won't. But I think the Pac-12 or the Pac-10 or whatever you're going to call them, they're going to end up taking like some sort of deal that gets them like $25 million per school, and it's not going to make anyone happy. They're just going to have to eat it's a big shit sandwich. Everyone's going to take a bite. They're going to have to take an ESPN deal that's like partial over the air, partial streaming, and they're just going to have to accept the fact that they suck. I mean,
and guess what? And well, that's the funny part, Sean, is you and I have talked about it on here. We've talked about it off the air with it, where it's a lot of teams are starting to discover where they really are in the pecking order, and we're good. No, you're not.
Will you take away the second biggest market in the country? And it's like, we don't have that anymore. But the ACC, it's just like ESPN's in no hurry because we have all you at a discount.
Yeah.
We got a Black Friday deal on y'all, all you motherfuckers.
Because they acted reactively instead of proactively because the Big 12 was melting.
We're gonna make a grand advance till 2036. That way we're safe. Oops, should have rethought that one, guys. Because the funny part is, the Big 12, the new Big 12 is gonna have another negotiation like in 2030. And there's going to be like 5-6 years left of the ACC deal that's currently right now. So the Big 12 is going to have their first shot. That they'll have the new Big 12 will have like 5 or 6 years to show off what they are, what they can do, and we might be entering territories down the road where basketball and football get separate contracts. It's not going to be one singular deal.
I won't be surprised on that.
So I mean, if the Big 12 is a really good basketball league, they'll have a solid basketball deal for what the fair market value gives for that. Football might be different. So the SEC is going to have a great football deal. The basketball deal, I think it'll be solid. You have Kentucky, who's in Florida, who's good sometimes. Alabama is weirdly good now. I don't know. OU and Texas, Texas, you could be decent at basketball at times. There's no excuse for OU not to compete anymore.
Correct.
In SEC play.
But it's also too like, we know that basketball is going to be the second biggest revenue one with it, kind of, sort of. it only makes sense that it has to have its own contract, just like the other schools have like different stuff with other conferences. Like I think something along the lines of OU would still be involved in maybe something with other schools with it because it's just so few schools in that sport or something. So it's like I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I mean, OU's gonna OU. It sounds like OU's gonna try to do bedlam with like everybody except football because the reason we're not doing football is like, well, we have our non-conference schedules are just packed. I'm like, shut up! Like, both of you can shut up on that front. I don't want to hear this whole crap. If it whoever it matters more to OSU than it does to OU.
Yeah,
OSU is the one who's talking about their non-conference being booked, and I'm like, okay, sure, whatever you say there, stud. Well, our non-conference is booked. It's like, yeah, your Central Michigan games are so important. God, I can't wait till that day comes to an end. Where that day where all that shit comes to an end, where we get rid of like, we're gonna play Central Michigan. And it's like, no one wants to watch you play Central Michigan. It's funny when you lose to them on the last play. That's hilarious. But no, the days where you have these garbage football games. You know what it reminds you know what it reminds me of? It's like when professional wrestling back in the day, like before it got really big with like the mid '90s and up.
Yeah,
with like the Attitude Era with Steve Austin on Raw and The Rock, and then like the New World Order on the other channel. It's like back in the old days, you used like every Saturday morning, like at noon or like 11 a.m. or noon, you'd have WWF Superstars.
right.
And the whole show were like squash matches, like jobber matches. Here's WWF Superstar Good Guy versus Jobber. Here's WWF Superstar Bad Guy against Jobber. And you get like one decent match for your main event. That's it. That's kind of what college football is in September. It's like it's WWF Superstars. You get one decent game a week in September. It's like you get a bunch of jobber matches all day. And finally, the main event, you'll get Notre Dame versus Ohio State. Oh, thank God. I've been waiting all day for this. So, but eventually they got away. You don't see jobber matches anymore.
No, like, you see things like the NFL Rush Zone now.
No, so you say what?
I'm trying to make a joke about the NFL Rush Zone. Remember that cartoon?
Yeah,
you don't.
I know about that cartoon very well. I've seen every episode. It's great.
I'm proud of you.
Gerald McCoy was in the last episode.
He was.
I need to get Gerald McCoy. I need to like interview him. I need to ask him about the NFL Rush Zone. Like, what's it like being immortalized as a cartoon character?
And no one wouldn't ask that question at all.
Something tells me like most of those guys completely have no idea that thing exists, and they just got pulled into like a broom closet, like during a bye week or something, and they recorded some lines, and it was like, all right, I gotta get back to practice. I think most of those guys would be blown away if they saw that cartoon. Like not necessarily in a positive way. They'd be like, "What?
What the hell?" Sorry, that was just a random thought when you're like, about
Gerald.
I'm like, how did they promote the NFL? It was the Rush Zone. That's why. Gerald was the only one on there from OU, right? Because Peterson wasn't on there.
Was Peterson on there? He might have been. I think Gerald was the only one. No, if Peterson was on there, I would have posted clips. No, seriously, I would have posted, like, believe me, I would have no, I think Gerald McCoy is the only one I can think of.
Gotcha.
Drew Brees, the way they whatever like South Korean studio Drew had to animate Drew Brees, it did not look like Drew Brees. It looked closer to Ray Stantz from the real Ghostbusters than he did Drew Brees. Looks like Frank Welker should be voicing him. It was bad, man. I think Drew my favorite performance was Chris Johnson of the Titans. Oh my God. Like, all right, Chris, we just need you to read these lines out loud. And boy, like it was just and the Emmy goes to God.
Maybe he just really liked his role.
No. It's like, there's acting, and then he was just reading what was on the script, and he just read out loud. That's what it sounded like. It's like,
Calculon would be very disappointed.
you got to learn what it means to be a good teammate. You got to communicate with everyone on your team. You got to be. That's what a good leader does. It was just my favorite one was the when the bad guys turned the Harbaugh brothers against each other and they made them evil. And
I forgot about that.
And unfortunately, the wrong Harbaugh got into the spotlight. They used John instead of Jim mostly, and John Harbaugh was on the edge of like a cliff over the ocean, and they had to save him because heaven forbid he got hit by a wave and got wet. You know what I mean? It was just God, that was hilarious. But I was so disappointed it wasn't Jim Harbaugh, because that would have been so hilarious on so many different levels. I mean, the fact that it was John was still just as funny. But to see Jim and John Harbaugh just like, again, reading their lines out loud with like no emotion whatsoever and trying to pretend they hate each other. I don't like you, John. I'm going to do what's this? What's happening to you, brother? Why are you saying these things? God, it was wonderful. God, I wish this whole series was on like DVD or something. But the problem is, this series came out during a certain period where you used to be able to like go to one of the websites and stream everything, but they took away a certain episode for a certain reason. They had they had a guest appearance by Ray Rice.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was.
And guess what? That Ray Rice episode, thankfully, one of our friends from New Zealand was able to hack the website and said, "Oh, it's still on the website. I just found the dead link." And I just ripped it. Here you go. Here's the Ray Rice episode. It was nothing bad in the episode. It was just you didn't want Rich Eisen going, "Hey, how about Ray Rice this week?" You didn't want to hear any positive things about Ray Rice because he was a wife beater on camera, right. Nonetheless. God, that was a bad week for the NFL. You had Ray Rice like knocking out his wife / significant other on camera. You had Adrian Peterson with his kid, with the switch with his kid, which is like old school hardcore disciplining your children, which some people in the country aren't going to mind, but it's like a
lot of people do.
You're making your young child bleed with a switch like that. This ain't 1949 anymore. You can't do that shit. And there was like another thing too. It was just a bad week of the NFL. It was like one of the darkest, blackest moments in the history of the sport. And Peterson lost a lot of his endorsements because of that shit. It wasn't great.
Yeah, he did.
So,
yeah. Yeah, well, and
he's also broke too, which is sad.
Which is weird. You would think like he wouldn't be, but then it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, dude's broke, man. It sucks.
He could just do autographs in Oklahoma and get everything back. I mean,
yeah, kind of. He can have a Billy Sims type of second half of his life career. It's possible.
Yeah,
Billy's doing all right. He's got his restaurants. He lives off the Oklahoma love.
And restaurants are good.
He's got Billy Sims Barbecue in Detroit. So,
yeah. And they like it there in Detroit. Like, it's good barbecue. Now,
like Billy, people forget, like Billy was legit in the NFL. It was just he unfortunately played in an era where if you fucked up your knee, you didn't get scoped and were back in a few weeks for some minor shit. They'd cut you open. So
yeah, man, you're talking about Billy. It's weird because it's been like the past 3 years, dude has like grayed out like hardcore. I'm like, Billy, no.
Well, yeah, he was like he was in his 20s in the 70s, so it's been a minute. So
I know, but if you look at pictures from 3 years ago to now, it's stress look related. Like
my ass is gray. My ass is graying out from stress. I see.
Nah. You don't have gray hairs. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, nope. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I see it in the mirror every day when I don't shave for a week. I see that shit.
Nope. Can't say that, Sean. Can't say that. Nope. Don't have gray. Nope.
Yes, dude. I started getting gray hairs at 34. So
That doesn't count. That doesn't
yeah,
count.
yeah, it
Yeah.
does. My ass is old. It's getting there.
No. If as long as you're not at the window going like, we needed this rain. You're not old yet. You don't have gray hairs. Nope.
Well, no, no, I'm not. I'll be old when I start clapping when the plane lands.
You're telling me you don't do that? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's a very white people thing to do.
It is.
Clapping when the plane lands. It's supposed to land, you fucking morons. Why are you clapping?
It makes me think of.
You act like you got on the Titanic.
Maybe they thought they were. It makes me think of the funny one. I saw a picture online. It was like this parent was so proud of their kid, and they had like 15 certificates for like their schooling stuff. I'm like, back in my day, we were just happy to make it into summer break. We didn't care about these certificates.
Oh, dude, I was in that generation too, man. Like when I was in elementary school, they would give kids like certificates for shit.
Really?
And,
I never got it. It was
yeah, like kids
get out of here.
Kids got certificates for perfect attendance and grades and shit, and it's like whatever. It's like,
this was more for like, I remember those, but this was more for like they got like above average on reading. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Your kid's not a complete moron. Congratulations.
Yay, they're competent. Oh boy. That's me. But you mentioned the TV deals. Are we going to talk about the NFL and how they're having their fight with college football with the playoff?
Give me 1 second.
Okay. NFL Rush Zone, guys. I'm telling you, one of the dumbest shows I remember growing up. I'm like, why did this thought just happen tonight? But then here we are. We talk about Saturday morning cartoons, and we're talking about the old school stuff. And yeah,
I'd take care of something. What were we talking about?
Oh, it was. Are we going to talk about the dispute that NFL is having, or like maybe minor fight with college football with the playoff times because it's forcing them to stream like their games and they don't want that competition?
Well, there is no fight because I hate to break the bad news. The NFL is going to win that fight every time because here's the issue. Dear college football, all these Saturdays that you weren't using for a playoff for like a century, the NFL decided, well, you're not using this this inventory here. We're going to take it. We're going to have NFL playoff games on Saturdays in January. So you have your Rose Bowls and vote who the best team is, and we'll actually decide it on the field. No, the NFL, like if you want to complain about Black Friday, that's a whole different story. Friday,
I'm talking about both, where it's like Black Friday and NFL with it. Cause
if you want to, I mean, Thanksgiving has always been shared to an extent. You know, there'd be 2 NFL Thanksgiving games, and then there would be a college game on at night. And then Black Friday was, for the most part, a college football day, and the NFL wants to have a Black Friday game, and it's like, well,
it's the same thing. It's like,
the NFL brings in better ratings than college football. Sorry, guys, it's the truth. But it is what it is. But
isn't there something though from 1961 with the antitrust thing where it's like college football gets the priority over NFL?
I have no idea why they would get priority over NFL in anything. The NFL is the moneymaker, so
gotcha. But I mean, it's the same thing. It's
like the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills is going to outdraw any college football game. Period.
Yeah. So. Unless it's the national championship or something like that.
I don't know about that, Davey. There's some national championship games that are trash. Like this past one, this past national championship was like people are going to turn this shit off after the first quarter.
No, that was just an ass whooping. That was long.
No, but what I'm saying is they're going to turn it off after the first quarter for good reason. I was like, yeah, this shit's over.
Yeah.
TCU had like one good drive in the first quarter. It was like, oh, okay, they scored. Like, oh, never mind. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, Stetson Bennett has like a super team around him. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Like, Georgia gets the number one quarterback and number one player in the country for the class. And it's like, man, you guys are doing it all wrong. You need to go to the JUCO ranks, get yourself like a 5'10" plucky JUCO guy who has all the everything to prove. Don't get no 5-star. Like you screwed you screwed up the last 5-star you got, and he went to Ohio State.
And look what happened.
Yeah, Justin Fields became great, and he got drafted by the Bears, and it's like he's so with the Bears, but like Georgia's slowly going to turn into Bama, where it's like, oh, they have good quarterbacks now. That's not fair.
Yeah,
that's kind of one problem. When Bama started getting legit quarterbacks, like, oh, come on, you were winning titles with like basic drop back white guys with no
athletic skill,
no athletic skills, and now you're getting like guys who can actually run and like they're gonna miss Bryce Young, Bama. Like Bryce Young was so damn good in college. Now he looks like a middle schooler in his NFL practice jersey and helmet. Like that helmet looks so big on his head. Have you seen pictures of him at practice?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you need to look up Bryce Young in his practice. And it sounds like, but he looks so tiny. Bryce looks so tiny. It's like Baker's like small. Is not the big. He's not the smallest guy, but he looks legit when he puts on a uniform. Bryce is so tiny, man. But we'll see how he does. Hopefully, he's better than Tua.
I would assume he is.
Tua's just not it. I just don't think Tua is long for the NFL.
I think he has maybe a couple more years and then he's out. I agree.
It's tough. It's tough to be like borderline 6 foot in the NFL. You got to be at least 6'2" minimum.
Yeah.
Like, so you basically got to be my height.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong for it.
You basically got to be my height minimum. I'm not saying I'm going to that makes me a great NFL quarterback. No, it just means like you got to be just like you got to be at least you got to be like there's like the rides at like Universal Disney. You must be this tall to get on this ride. You must be this tall to be an NFL quarterback. be at least 6'2" and you're good.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, that's just the nature of the NFL and stuff too, though.
Anyway,
I'm more curious at this point who's gonna what's gonna happen first, the Pac-12's deal, media deal, or Stetson Bennett getting a degree. What's gonna happen first, guys?
Stetson Bennett got drafted, so I don't know.
Happens. I was trying to remember.
Didn't he graduate? He stayed.
No, he has no degree.
He's on a degree? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was there. That was the big running joke. Like, Jalen Hurts was able to go to OU and get his master's. What's your deal, Stetson?
I mean, you just got drafted. So, like, Jalen getting his degree from OU is interesting. It's like good for him, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
it still doesn't change how I felt about his 1 year there. It's just like I didn't hate him. I didn't hate him specifically. I hate how he was utilized by fucking Tebow. Just turning him into a one-man offense. It's like, dude, he's not. It's like, what are you doing? Will you give the ball to Trey Sermon, please?
Do you think he did that because Tebow was like awful at what his stuff was, so he had to? Now that we have a little bit of retrospect,
it's just like every time I watch him, it's like he'd always tuck it, and try to run, and try to like do everything himself. It's like, dude, you have CeeDee Lamb. You got CeeDee Lamb, and you got like Kenny Brooks, you got Trey Sermon. It's like, use the people around you, dude. I hate it. Like it's like I'm gonna tuck it and run. I'm gonna bust her. It's like, stop that. Stop doing that.
Well, you and I both watched it. It was just like he got a lot better in the NFL, but he had some dumb decisions in college with it where he did not. Man,
like Jalen's good now. We'll see how long that party lasts. Like, congratulations on him getting that monster contract. Good Lord,
for all 10 days.
Yeah, I'm never gonna hate him for getting that monster deal. But
I get your money.
Yeah, because Lamar Jackson got more.
Yeah.
But we'll see if Jalen could replicate what he's been doing for like 5-10 years. If he does that, great. Then he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. And he's gonna get the Eagles a Super Bowl. But man, I'm just.
Did you vomit a little bit saying that?
A little bit, throw it in my mouth a little bit. I hate the dude. I'm still getting used to the fact that Lane Johnson's been in the league for over 10 years. That's weird to me.
Dude, I mean,
I'm still not used to
about that.
I'm not used to laying being in the NFL for over a decade.
Dude, we were just talking about that on Saturday, that it's been 10 years since the Moore tornado, and then we just started going, what else has happened in 10 years? Lots happened in 10 years, man. Like, gosh.
I criticized Mike Gundy 4 years ago. So, and then, like, you would have thought I did it 4 months ago.
They had to pull your stuff from 10.
Dude, if you found some of my opinions from like 10 years ago that are vastly different from today,
more power to you.
Yeah, and congratulations, dude. There's lots of things I used to think. I used to think Joey Halsley was going to win the quarterback spot in 2007 based off a spring game performance. I thought lots of things. So carry on.
What we haven't you kind of vaguely talked about. Oh yeah, what happened? You were supposed to stream with Eric. What happened?
I had no fucking internet for 6-8 hours.
My God, what happened?
Spectrum is useless and terrible.
Oh, well, there you go.
So it's like there was no like. It's just there's just an outage and like because he lives fairly close by to me, so he had an outage too. So it's like I go to bed like at midnight. I wake up like it came on like it came on sometime after midnight because I woke up at like at 5:30. And it's like and it was on. So it's like it came on sometime between midnight and 5:30. So it's like I'm just like screw it. I'm just gonna watch some violent Japanese cartoons that I have on my shelf.
That's fair.
This is why owning physical media is a good idea because I'm going to stream something. Oh, you can't because you have no internet.
Well, no, it's okay. You could do Red Dead Redemption.
I mean, I finished my second playthrough.
I know.
I did everything, and I mean everything. Like I did.
I know you've done it like 3 times. Like
no, I did it twice. No, I did it twice. The second time I did, dude, I found things I never knew existed. Like there's like a vampire in the game. Like there's a what? Like there's a vampire secret thing. Like there's a vampire? When did this happen? And I found the vampire and I was able to steal his ornamental dagger because I needed it for I got all the weapons. I got all the equipment. I caught every fish. I found every horse. I studied, killed, skinned every animal. So I got 2 big achievements for that. I got the zoology achievement and the skin deep achievement.
Did you finally find the moose?
Oh my God, dude. You have oh my God. Don't get me started on freaking moose. You have to go so far and above to find not just any moose, 3-star mooses for high quality pelts and shit. Yeah. My God, the workarounds that I found on through YouTube and things. Okay, here's what you got to do. You got to go to this lake, stay here, save your game, and then just keep reloading till the moose shows up when you put down your herbivore bait. How many times have you... It usually works when I get to the 10th time I reload. Like what? I do what? So by the 10th reload, usually, okay, make sure you're this far away, and like use your binoculars to make sure it shows up, and study it. And it's like, oh my God,
that sounds like the old wives' tale. Okay, this is what you do on the 3rd Tuesday.
You don't find a moose in the wild, like they're so rare. They don't just show up. Sometimes there'll be a moose sleeping on the ice floe up in the northern mountains, and you just and if it doesn't show up, just save your game and reload it 12 times. Like, oh my God, I hate you. So yeah, there's 2 types of moose you got to find. There's the one with the antlers and the one that doesn't have the antlers. And you got to get multiple moose because if you have to get certain pelts, because right. I got all the trapper equipments and outfits. I got those. What else did I do? I did all the little shit you didn't need. Like I got every camp upgrade for your camp. It doesn't give you any achievement or bonus. I just wanted to have all the things. I just wanted to do it. I got every item request in the camp that you have to trigger because you have to get Lenny to say his speech about his dad and his watch at like midnight and around the campfire. And that took 80 times to figure out. So I finally found the perfect way to do it where I have to save my game at 8 o'clock at night, then go to the campfire, nothing, then sleep, get up at midnight, hear it, and then try it again, and then so you have 2 chances at the campfire instead of just 1. If anyone's played this game, you know what I'm talking about. But
it's points where it's like it's so over the top with it, and they do it just.
But it's so good. But it's so good that I have to do it.
It's so amazing, but yet I hate it.
I love it and I hate it. I just finished my last, because like I had like one side quest that was left in my second playthrough, and it was like the Evelyn Miller writer side quest where he won't leave his cabin until he finished writing his final manifesto, and he's so determined that he like dies at his desk, and because you keep trying to bring him food. I brought you some food, sir. And it's like then he dies, and you pick up his book. It says, "Just burn everything around me." So you set his cabin on fire and leave. And it's like, all right, I'm done with the game now. I finished the last side quest. I think that's around. There's other bullshit in that game too. I just don't have the patience for. Like there's the map you could find to find the UFOs that fly out. I was like, I'm not doing that shit. I can just watch a YouTube clip. It doesn't do anything.
It's basically it's a fantastic game, but
it's more deeper than it needs to be, but it's like
at the same time, it's like
I have fun. I have fun playing Arthur Morgan, dude. Arthur Morgan's like the best video game character I've ever played as, man. It's great. Arthur Morgan's great. And of course, you don't play as Arthur Morgan for the last part of the game, unfortunately, which sucks. Yeah, I don't mind
probably
being
no different than
I don't mind being John Marston, but it's like what's fun. You know what's really funny? Have you played Red Dead?
Yeah.
2?
Only a little bit of 2, but I played through 1 a whole lot.
Okay, so you care if I spoil something?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, so for the high honor at the end of the main story, before you get to the quote unquote epilogue chapters of John, because like Arthur Morgan has a tuberculosis, and he's you spend the last chapter of the game like coughing up and like losing your levels and everything.
Your lung,
yeah, and so everything's going to shit, and you're up in the mountains. You're trying to escape the Pinkertons and everything in law, and I laughed my ass off the first time I saw this, because I'm like, oh my god, no, they didn't. They have no idea what they just did. So Arthur normally has, his basic outfit, he has like his gambler's hat, and it's like old and tattered. It's got like a little bullet hole in it at times.
Yeah.
And so he and John are trying to get away. And John's like, come on, Arthur, we get out. He's like, no, I think my time is up. It's like, you got to get out. Go to your family. And then Arthur takes off his hat and he puts it on John's head, and he tells him to go. And I'm like, oh my god, it's Shanks and Luffy. Shanks gave her the straw hat, and I just started cracking up. Oh my god, he gave him his hat like it's Shanks giving the hat to Luffy. He was like, you're gonna be the outlaw king now. And so, but the game, you have the option to wear Arthur's hat. So they always try to give you like his default hat. I'm like, no. Arthur gave me his gambler's hat. That's the straw hat. That's gonna lead me to the One Piece. I always re-switch. I always like research the outfit. It's like, no. I don't want John's basic farmer hat or whatever. Give me Arthur's hat. I'm wearing Arthur's hat. Arthur's hat is what I'm wearing, damn it. So end of the day.
Congrats.
I'm never playing that game again, because it took over 2 months of my life that I'll never get back. And now I literally got carpal tunnel because of this game. I'm not joking. Like I wake up every morning with my hands like hurting.
Yeah.
Like, and it's going to take weeks if it ever comes back to not cramping in the morning. But I can't make a fist first thing in the morning. It hurts. I have to wait till I get blood flowed and everything.
Yeah.
So hopefully it heals. But like that, 2 months of that game took over my life.
I mean, Sean, you have a year for it to heal, so you can enjoy your NCAA football.
Well, no, I got AEW. The AEW video game is supposedly coming out the end of June, so
Yeah.
that's finally happening. But NCAA football is coming out next year. It'll have real players in it. 95% of them will opt into this game. There's going to be a handful that say no or don't do it.
Are they going to get a payment for it, or is it
They're
just like, hey, can you waive
okay.
it?
They will probably get anywhere, like someone did the math. They'll probably get anywhere to $400 to $500. It's not going to be that much.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's what the problem was before, was they weren't going to get a lot for it, but then they had it. It was the school's option.
They're going to get something. It's better than getting nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, it's better than getting $0. I mean, it used to be good enough just to be in the game. They were just so happy to have a generic guy in there. But at the end of the day, it's like, hey, would you rather get $400 to $500, like with a face scan and everything?
I mean, it's better than having generic player number 5 as quarterback, even though you know who he is.
Where all the generic models look like 35-year-old men.
Yeah. We have the technology, but we can't do it because of NIL.
Yeah, well,
I'm still upset that Baker and Kyler did not get their covers.
You know who? Well, hold on. Before I say that, I don't know who the cover athlete's going to be next year, because it could be a current player for the first time ever. Because you would assume who, like the guy you would think of immediately after this season plays for the game next year, the obvious guy they would pick, Caleb Williams. And everyone would be pissed. But you could potentially have a current player. Could be the dog.
Could be.
Yeah, the dog barking his ass off. But a current, I'm trying to think who a current player for next year could be. It's like, just pay attention to who has a great season this year. You never know.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying. I forgot. How could I be so silly? Josh, we all know who's going to be the cover athlete next year. Who's going to be a current player? Come on,
Dylan Gabriel.
No. The greatest quarterback that has ever graced God's green earth.
Of course. The guy who's
Archibald. Our good Archibald. Old Archibald. Archibald's going to be on the cover.
He'll be on the cover, and they're going to have both his uncles on there too.
It's going to be
legacy.
And you'll have the special edition legacy, Manning Legacy Edition.
Yeah. Well,
you would get the special legacy where you get an autographed Manning jersey signed by all three of them.
Yeah.
You could have different jerseys. You could have a Tennessee one, an Ole Miss one, or a Texas one.
Yeah, see,
I'm doing I'm just down the street.
The hard work for him.
I'm down the street from Maitland. I can say, guys, I've got an idea. I know who your cover athlete's going to be.
It's going to be the greatest thing ever. And Arch is going to be so good. He's going to be so good, man. He's not even going to have a 99 rating.
He's going to have a 105 rating. He's just that good.
Yep. He's going to be the guy to go to.
Is that possible to get 105? Well, just like stat bonuses and stuff. It's just built in.
Yeah, he got his buffs and everything. Yeah.
That's the other thing for Archanon is next year or next year for Archanon. What his overall rating is going to be? Archanon is real. if he's like he'll be a redshirt freshman, right? So what if he'd be like an 85 or 86 overall, or if he's anything close to 90, it would be like Archanon is definitely real.
Because they want it. See, now you're gonna have that penciled in. Like, I gotta know. It's
PG out of bar.
Yeah, you're right.
PG out of bar will be like an 88 or something like that.
Until like the following year.
No. I'm talking about the first year of the game. It'll be year 2 for PJ. So you got to remember, everyone's got a year to get their rating.
Right.
PJ get like an 88 overall. But they're talking about they're really focusing on Dynasty this year. They're not doing any. They're not going to waste time on Madden Ultimate Team bullshit, which everyone because like the last game had like Ultimate Team for college, which was cute, but if you're just gonna
It just
get,
didn't work out.
well, just give me all my OU players. That's all I wanted. I just wanted all my
Yeah.
like. Do I really have to microtransaction all this crap? It's like, ugh, I hate this. I tried to build like an all OU team, but I kept on like, here's Keenan Clayton for you here. Here's a Jamel Fleming. He's a 79 overall corner or whatever. Sorry, I got Kevin Smith in my head right now. I can't.
I just kept thinking of what you were talking about on your last video of get the guy who had an 82. Get the recruit who has 82.
Oh no, that's for true freshman. No, the rare
Right.
true freshman that's like an 82 overall.
Yeah.
Because usually all the 5 stars who are legit are like 81s, but there's the rare 82. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, he's 82. Like the only ones like kickers and punters could be like 84.
Because that's all they do. Yeah.
Because all they do is like kick. So it's like they're so. I never go for accuracy because what's the point? Because like I'm the one who's dealing with the accuracy. I'm the one who's like, moving the meters. So it's like just give me power for both kickers and putters. I always go for power guys.
Yeah.
Give me power guys. Like accuracy, I don't need to worry about accuracy. I just give me the guys who have good legs. Give me a guy who can get a 55-yard field goal. Give me a guy who can punt, who can sky punt like a mother. But it sounds like recruiting might be good. Hopefully, the last time was like you had like the point. You had the point system where you had like the you had like the X amount of points. You could like put amount of points to recruit this guy every week. So like the max was like 700 or something.
Yeah.
So you try to max out and set up visits. I'd always try to set up like huge visits with like 12 guys coming to one weekend. So that's why I always schedule like ridiculous non-conference schedules where it's like, all right, I'm gonna play USC, Michigan, and Alabama in one non-conference or something. Because why not? Like I don't want to play Tulsa. What a waste. McNeese.
You don't want to play Oklahoma State's rival?
Yeah, Central Michigan, whatever. That's the only time I play those teams if they were ranked high in my dynasty.
Yeah.
Like if Central Michigan was like a top 25 team, I was like, sure. I'll put it, like it's a ranked team. I'll put it on my schedule.
Bring it on.
That's what would happen.
No.
You know what always happened for my dynasties? It never fails. Navy always became a powerhouse. It never fails. It was always Navy.
But why?
Because they ran that triple option shit and they would just like wear you down.
That's fair. That's fair.
Navy wasn't treated like because Navy was able to recruit like anybody like normal, which is not how reality works because the academy schools,
because of the academies, yeah.
Well, you can't recruit certain linemen because they have to pass the military's body fat percentage.
Correct.
So you can't have these 300-pound chonkers in the middle because like most 300-pound guys are not going to pass they're not going to pass a height, weight / body fat percentage. Like that was that was always my problem. Like the Army would always have, this is the height weight chart. This is how much you're supposed to weigh. Maybe based on 1950 standards.
Right.
But it's like, that's why then they introduced body fat percentage. As long you could weigh way more than you're supposed to, as long as your body fat percentage didn't go past or whatever. So they would always tape your stomach and your neck or whatever. So thankfully my neck helped me out more times.
Yay, neck.
Yeah. So, but in NCAA, I mean, it's not even called NCAA. People it's just be college football 25 or whatever it's going to be called. So
yeah,
or just
it'll be distance from the NCAA.
And I'm sick of the bitching and whining from people who don't know anywhere. It's just going to be a Madden clone. People still say that shit. They believe it's going to be a Madden clone. And I always tell these people, it's like, folks, if it was going to be a Madden clone, they would have just shoved it out by now, and they wouldn't give a shit about getting real players, and they wouldn't give a shit about anything else. They would
if it was a Madden clone in the background on the stands, it would say Madden NFL 2001 or 2021.
people try to pull up, but it's like, well, they had the college playoff in the Madden games, like, which was lame. It was just, it was basically like, Draft Day, the movie, but with
Yeah,
like college teams. So it was like,
it wasn't worth the time.
it's like, okay, you could play as the Oklahoma Sooners in the college football playoff, but it's not any OU football players. It's a storyline game. Is like who cares? It's
Yeah,
just that's just a skin.
yeah,
And only certain teams were in that because of quarterbacks. Like Texas Tech was in there for obvious reasons because of Mahomes, and
right.
Oklahoma was in there for obvious reasons because of our
To the
quarterbacks.
Baker. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's like Bama wasn't in there because they didn't have any quarterbacks worth of shit then when that
right.
mode came out. They had like AJ McCarron, and it was like, okay, that's
It was dumb. It
yeah.
was dumb. So it's one of those with it where I saw it too, and a lot of people expected a lot from it, but then it fizzled out. They're like, it's a neat concept, but it's kind of stupid when how limited it was.
No, it's I don't know. I just I haven't played Madden like in years. Like
Yeah,
so, like I never got a PS4, so it's like I got PS5. So I guess I could in theory get Madden if I wanted to, but I've always heard like people hating on Madden. So
it's because it's the same game. All they're doing is changing out like the backgrounds and
well,
some very
yeah,
minor.
Madden's always been the same game. Like, but the best era for Madden was like the PS2 era. That was the best era for Madden
Yeah,
because you had like if you were like a football junkie, um, if you were a football junkie, you would have like deep owner modes where you could
right.
where like I mean some people don't care, but like you could set the prices of what your hot dogs are in the concession stands. And I'm not joking, you could actually do that shit.
Right. Well,
But
it
like,
was.
but if you were really into like if you wanted to be an owner and run a franchise and like kind of be Jerry Jones, you could do that. So that was kind of, and so you had like, you know, franchise mode was like great. So now
Right.
it's just like you don't have the deep football stuff like you could do. Like for me, what I want in the new college football series, like I love the off-season stuff for managing your roster. Can you convince guys to stay? Are guys gonna transfer out? The one thing I always felt was missing. I want a spring practice mode. Like if you could give me a
Yeah.
spring practice mode, where because like they would have like off-season mini camp games in Madden where you could take a player, and if you wanted to say, okay, this player is lacking in his agility or his speed, I want to do a drill that could maybe add a point or so. However, how well I do, if I can add a point to his and do well in this drill, I can customize how I want to, develop my team. So my wide receiver,
Yeah.
I want to make my wide receiver faster. So let's do 40-yard dashes. Let's do catching drills. Let's do pass skeletons. Let's do Oklahoma drills. I want to have those options. Or and if you want, you could simulate it and just like based on who your coach is. But I think an
Yeah.
off-season spring practice mode would be a lot of fun. And
It would get. It would. It's like what you said about the owner part. It would give you a little more agency over your players for what you expect from them for it.
at some point, there may or may not be an NIL thing in there. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Probably.
It's not going to be in the first game because I don't know how you like. They're like in one of the older games. I forget which year it was, but they used to have you would recruit certain players, and some of them would have questionable character traits.
Yeah.
They'd be really good players, and it's like, oh, this player is not going to class, or this player is not doing this. So, depending on how you disciplined your team, if you just kept ignoring shit, then the NCAA would sanction you. They would take away scholarships or put you on probation. That lasted like a year, and then they just like you're not. The NCAA says you're not having on the game anymore. What really sucked one year in the PS2 era of NCAA, they were supposed to have like if you won like a big home game, like a
Yeah.
that was out of nowhere or something, they were going to have like fans tearing down the goalpost. The NCAA says, nope, you're not putting
Nope.
that in.
Since they don't have a say anymore, they may put it back in.
That is definitely a possibility, but you are still dealing with individual schools, so they could probably say ixnay to that. But
Well, considering that the SEC is really going to crack down on rushing the field at this point, maybe it won't be in there.
Yeah, like Tennessee, like beating Bama the way they did, was like one of the greatest moments last year. Like it was the best moment of college football last year.
Well, yeah, with 16 years in the making.
Tennessee beating Bama was like the best thing to watch last year, without question. Like
Tennessee beating Bama reminds me a lot of OU softball this weekend. Of they I think it was struck out Jada, and then it was all the home runs, and it was like, that's why.
How does that connect? I don't get it.
Oh, like that it was the moment type of deal. Like, oh, next year Bama's going to do the exact same thing. Tennessee beat them. Now they're going to get destroyed next year by Bama at home.
I still don't get it. Like, what's the connection?
Never mind. Never mind.
I was like, okay. And you got a big D-line. Yeah, you will get some D-line guys. Like,
yeah.
Like, so I told certain OU fans who bitched and whined about we got to get in-state kids. He was like an in-state kid for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not worried about like like Xavier Sims is not as good as people say he is. Like he's the number one player in the state of Oklahoma. That don't mean much. I don't know if you paid attention. Oklahoma has some good years sometimes, but like you're the number one player of the state. I don't even. That's not like Texas or California or Florida or Georgia, where it's like, ooh, that's a big deal. Some years being the number one player in the state of Oklahoma, yeah, okay. It's not like it's not really a tight race for being the best player in the state of Oklahoma. Koye is probably the best player in the state of Oklahoma, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an edge guy, and that guy's like a true D lineman, but it's like, you know, it is what it is. But I don't think Sims is like
he's not a world beater because it's what you said. His rating is all over the place.
The reasons people are freaking out because people think a guy like that should be an easy get, and he's a 4, and they think he's a 4-star, so it'll still look good on paper type of shit. Because everyone's afraid we're not going to get anybody on our wish list for like D linemen.
Yeah.
And I, like I said before, it's like, I'm not going to promise you we're all going to get Stone and Winari and we're Nigel Smith and Ajonye and all that. Like, we're probably not going to get all of those guys. Can we get 2, maybe 3 if we're lucky? Absolutely, we can.
Yeah.
So you just got to be patient. Like, Ajonye just took his trip to Georgia this weekend, and he's on a post-visit high. So you also got to remember the barbecue is coming up next month. That's a big deal. So
yeah, because that's where we'll get most of our like kind of feelers out for what.
Well, the barbecue is going to really set the tone for the month of July when a lot of guys are going to commit. So people need to realize the barbecue is coming up in July.
Yep.
It's the same weekend I'm doing AFO, so that's going to be a pain in the ass. So I'll be on my phone checking how the barbecue is going while I'm trying to tell people about Battle Athletes Victory.
Yeah, I mean,
here's a crazy dog anime. Oh my god!
Hey, those panels are amazing. Personally, I think you've done a great job on
it. Now that I'm no longer a slave to my PS5, I gotta build one from scratch, and then I gotta fine tune the other 2 to make them 90-minute panels. So that'll be fun.
You're gonna do 3 panels. I'm proud of you. Do 4, you coward.
No. I submitted my 4th one. They said no.
Well, at least you got your 3. Hey, you got 3. And so, Sean, let's wrap up. Any final thoughts or anything?
No, not really. It's just we're moving on to supers. And
who is in the super besides Clemson?
Well, that's who we're playing.
Right.
That's it. That's who OU's playing.
No, I'm talking all together.
I mean,
not just OU playing Clemson, like everybody else as well.
Yeah, but like for our region, we're just playing Clemson. There's no other team in the region.
Right.
I mean, Washington's there. Texas.
Did McNeese win?
They did not. No, they lost.
Oh.
Oklahoma State, useless animal barking.
I'm surprised Oklahoma State actually got there.
Well, they had
Regional.
a good. If the dog would stop barking, that'd be great. I could tell you. Hang on.
It's the dog madness that never ends. Never ends.
Wow. Yeah, but Oklahoma State had they had a tight game with Nebraska. Then they were able to pull out late. They just like it was just like a nightmare for Nebraska. There's like Oklahoma State just kept piling on runs after run after run.
Like I said, I'm just surprised that they were able to get one because I thought they were out at that point, but I was wrong.
Florida State was had like a Sandercock had like a perfect game against South Carolina because they had to play twice because South Carolina won earlier today. Georgia's moving on. I think Duke is moving on. Louisiana beat LSU, so the Raging Cajuns pulled off an upset. I think Oregon's going. Trying to because I'm trying to make sure I don't think Northwestern had a tight game against Miami of Ohio, so they're going. Bama's going. Tennessee's going. So yeah, that's yeah, so I don't know what the schedule's like. Do they have the schedule up? Let's see.
No, I mean they have the bracket up, but
I don't see a schedule yet. But anyway.
Oh yeah, I don't either. I was looking at.
We'll see soon. They'll have the schedules up soon, but
I mean, I'd assume unless there's weather or something like that, it'd be the standard, like maybe 5-6 o'clock at night.
I mean, who knows? It all depends. Like I said, I'm down for whenever.
Yeah,
I'll be watching.
You'll be watching it regardless. That was the last thing. Cowboy reminded me of it. Are you upset about no NBA pick?
About what?
You didn't get your number 1 NBA pick, and it went to.
I didn't really expect that to happen.
Rigged.
I always just roll my eyes whenever I get a reply. So it's in the script. I'm like, oh, shut up! I hate that shit so much. It's in the script.
My coworker is a big basketball fan. He's like, rigged. It absolutely is.
It's like, well, I heard people with the Thunder's like, Thunder ain't winning this shit.
No.
I mean, Orlando had like nearly a 10% chance of winning that thing, which is like decent. Like my hope for Orlando was like one, it was the 30th anniversary of Shaq and Penny back to back.
Yeah.
And and the number one and the worst team with the worst record never wins this thing anyway. So it's like okay, it's like why as well be us? Why can't it? So I don't know. I just want Orlando to be a contender in the East again. I'm not asking to be like the team. It's like, but the East is like so. The East feels so winnable. Because look at Miami. Look at the Heat. They're like the 8th seed, and they're going to go to the finals now. Like pretty much. They're up 3-0 against the Celtics. It's like Jimmy Butler just like dominates Boston, and he's in their heads. They're going to sweep Boston, and Denver's going to sweep the Lakers. Because Jamal Murray is just like a god. Even like Jokic had like a terrible game the other night. And like it wasn't even his best game, and they still crushed the Lakers. So like everyone, like all the casuals hoping for a Lakers Celtics finals is like, no, you're gonna get your Nuggets Heat finals and like it. You're gonna watch the Joker.
But this isn't what I wanted.
Dude, like I think it'll be a good series though with Joker and Jamal Murray, and then you have Jimmy Butler for the Heat. It's like I think that'll be a fun series if like things. Now I think Denver will win like in 6. Yeah, but I think Miami will pull out a few wins at home. But because let's just face it, like they're both the East and Western Conference Finals are up 3-0. I can't remember in my life when that happened. Or both. I mean, maybe one or the. I mean, one or the other. I've seen it. Like I've seen,
but not both.
I mean, the Bulls swept the Magic in '96, or that made me sad.
Yeah, but no, it wouldn't be both though.
Yeah, both. Well, was there ever a time in the history where it was just like an easy sweep for both sides? Where it was like
I don't think so.
It's like the number 1 seed of the West and the number 8 seed of the East. So crazy. But the East feels winnable, man, in the NBA, and it's like, I mean, Magic got like Paolo, and he was Rookie of the Year, and so
yeah.
mean, they got some cap space to work with, so what they should just like trade up with those 2 picks they got and see if they can just go get some. Like Wembayama, man, is like the guy. Apparently, he's been blessed as the can't miss prospect. He's like the 7'5" Frenchman who just can't fail. I would have loved to have like brought him in there, and we could have like brought him to Epcot Center to the France section of the World Showcase and show him how we perceive France. Get him on the Ratatouille ride at Epcot. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Just
he would have enjoyed Orlando.
Hopefully he doesn't bump his head on anything because he's 7'5".
No, not at all
in that ride. But all seriousness, it's just like the NBA is not fun when your team sucks. it's just not.
Really? I wonder how that feels. Really? Yeah. No,
when your team sucks, it's like I'm not used to the. So you think as a Magic, I'm not used to the Magic being like this, just like kind of like for this long. Like they've had bad stretches, but it's like usually it's like temporary. Like their early years, like first couple years, okay, then they got Shaq, okay, then they were good, and then they dipped off for a little bit. Then they got Tracy McGrady, they were interesting, and then they dipped. Then they got Dwight Howard, they're good, and then the Dwight Mare happened. Then ever since the Dwight Mare, it's been like we haven't like had a serious playoff run in like over 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah,
they need someone. What they're doing,
we beat the Raptors, and we beat the Raptors in Game 1 once. That was fun.
And then it all went downhill from there.
Yeah, I was like, we beat the Raptors once. That was great.
You pissed the Raptors off, and then they came back. Yeah,
I think the Raptors won the championship that year.
Yeah, they got upset.
We beat them in Game 1. I was like, yeah, we beat them in Game 1. Let's go. I was like, nope. All right. Well, hopefully Denver, Miami's good. That's all that matters.
Hopefully. Sean, thanks for coming on tonight, buddy. Everybody, thanks for joining and listening to us. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. And be sure to check the comments so you can go look at some of the other videos that we've had from some of the Wednesday Hangouts or some of the other Sundays. We'll try to do another one here in a couple weeks as we're watching OU softball dominate in the regionals. Maybe we'll probably dominate in the super regionals and make it to the Women's College World Series. So, Sean, you have a good one. Everybody, Boomer Sooner. Only one Oklahoma. We'll see everybody in the next one. Later.